Today I'm going to do a presentation on andragogy. At the end of this presentation, if you would like a copy of this presentation, you can scan the QR code for any of the links that I talk about. First, what is andragogy? The better known term pedagogy was the art and science of teaching. This is what teachers are taught when they are trained to be teachers, on the kinds of things to do to teach the content in which they are trying to teach, or to teach the level that they are trying to teach. Andragogy is the adult version of pedagogy, and therefore different assumptions have to be made in order to teach adults instead of children. So andragogy takes the ped out of pedagogy and makes it adult versus children. Andragogy is based on 5 assumptions that a man called Malcolm Knowles came up with in 1980 and then again in 1984. The first assumption is about self-concept. Children need to be directed by their teacher in order to teach, but adults move from a dependent personality to a self-directed personality. Therefore, adults need to be involved in the planning and the evaluation of their learning, and teachers, when trying to come up with ways for their adult students to learn, should think about activities that involve discoveries, and even mistakes can help adults to learn. The next assumption is the adult learner experience. While children have little life experience to look back on and need their teachers to give them more of that knowledge, adults are able to call upon years of experience to help with their learning. This allows them to come to class with ideas that they already have, and they can build upon those ideas to gain new knowledge or new understanding. Instructors also need to understand that adults come from a great variety of backgrounds and therefore have different skills. That means that the teacher needs to have differentiated activities for each student. The third assumption is the readiness to learn. Children learn because that is what they're supposed to do in school. Adults, however, need a reason for them to learn something new. Usually, this is a need in a job or in their personal life. The fourth assumption is the orientation to learning. Children learn, again, because they are told this is what you need to know, and usually their reasons for needing to know are things like, that's in this book, in this chapter, or this is the topic that the teacher is discussing now. Adults need to be able to use their learning immediately, so whatever they learn needs to have a practical application. This is why problem-solving activities or things that they can take back to their job or to their home immediately and use are the best kind of activities for adult learning. Finally, the last assumption is the motivation to learn. Adults move from being external learners to having internal reasons for learning. External reasons for learning are, I want to pass the test, I want to get a good grade in class, I want to make the teacher happy, etc. Adults need to use a need that they need to fulfill in either a job or at home. And they usually want to improve their job skills, raise their self-esteem, or somehow improve their quality in life. And that is their motivation to learn. This chart explains how pedagogy and andragogy are different. It goes through all the different ways and assumptions that teachers have when they are teaching children, and also the assumptions and the kinds of activities that you should have when teaching adults. It's important to remember that children don't just automatically become adults, but go through a process in adolescence of becoming adults. Therefore, the change from pedagogy to andragogy also should be gradual. As children are in adolescence, they need to slowly go from the child assumptions to the adult assumptions of andragogy. And this is where I found this chart at this link. And these are all the resources that I used in order to come up with this information. There are links here where you can go to read the articles that I used. And then some of the articles were also PDFs or documents that are digital files. Thank you for listening to my presentation about andragogy.